Georgia's 62-0 win over the Vanderbilt Commodores. And I know what people are going to say from the start, and I get it. They're going to say, well, it's Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt sucks. Okay, fine. But they couldn't play anyone other than Vanderbilt today, and they absolutely destroyed Vanderbilt. And these last 3 weeks, I mean, the Clemson game, I thought Georgia would win it. It wasn't the way they won was not ideal. It wasn't comfortable, but it was a huge win over a top 5 team, top 3, whatever they were. But these last 3 weeks have taught me a lot about this team, or what I think I know about them, which is that they seem to be killers. Like, they're going to take your lunch money and shove you in the locker and close it. And they might lock it behind them. They don't care. They can feel this, that they are good. And I don't know why this just popped in my head, but when I was talking to Aaron Murray earlier in the year, one thing that Aaron talked about when the difference between Georgia and Alabama was that you have to know that you're the better team and you have to go show it, but you got to know it first. And I think they're starting to tell that they're an elite team. Not that they're just really good, but that they are something that everybody in college football is going to have to worry about. And we've seen Georgia now play 16 quarters. The first quarter here against Vanderbilt was about as good a quarter as any quarter maybe except the beginning of the UAB game on offense, offensively speaking. In terms of defense, I just don't know. I mean, it's a blur with the exception of the touchdown from South Carolina. You've played 16 quarters of football and you've allowed a touchdown. I mean, that's not going to continue forever, but I don't know. I mean, if you're only allowing a touchdown in 16 quarters, you could be in a situation where, when Arkansas comes to play, the maximum amount of points they can score is 17 or something like that. Arkansas is going to have Georgia's full attention. There's a lot of people in the program that respect Sam Pittman. There's plenty of people that know about Arkansas because they played them a year ago, and they gave Georgia a solid half of difficult football. This game, I think, is going to be a little more complicated for the Razorbacks for a lot of different reasons. Namely, that JT Daniels is playing quarterback. He basically had a perfect day today. I think he was 9 for 11, or 9 for 10, or 10 for 11, one of the two. And the only incompletion was a drop ball. So, I'm saying that as I watch Arkansas go up 10-0 in the first quarter against the Aggies. But this Georgia team, you're going to have to be super elite on offense to score. And they're not what I would call super elite on offensively, Georgia. But they are very good. And if they weren't, they wouldn't have scored 5 straight touchdowns. It's just they have done what they had to do these last 16 quarters. They have worked a lot. These 16 quarters are a result of everything that's built towards them. You don't suddenly become in the position Vanderbilt is in. It built or slid to that. You don't get into the situation where Georgia's at right now, where you're allowing 77 total yards of offense. I mean, that just doesn't happen. That's because guys like Nolan Smith are playing better. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nakobe, just all these kids out there have put in a lot of work, and they're not going to let go. They're not going to let you score. And people aren't even popping big plays on them. See, that's the thing. So I think Georgia fans' confidence should be high. It shouldn't be recklessly high. I think you have to take every game seriously and say what it is. But, the Clemson game, you knew that was going to be a street fight. And there was a better street fighter, and that was Georgia. Okay? And I don't think if you play that game again 10 times that Clemson wins it, they might win it twice. I mean, they couldn't move the ball. All right? Georgia was moving the ball. They just weren't scoring. When you look at the UAB game, total domination. That was just like this Vanderbilt game. When you look at the South Carolina game, that's the only time was the move from the first quarter to second quarter. That's the only time this season where I think you could say they've lost momentum. They had momentum and they lost it. Other than that, it's hard for me to find a period of time. Maybe when the Clemson punt hit Kendall Milton in the leg. Kendall Milton's dealing with a shoulder injury, so that's why he did not play today. That's about the only time this season. I mean, this team isn't just winning games in a lopsided manner. They're doing it because they should. I remember when Kirby first got to Georgia and he talked about, why can't we win the national championship? And I wrote, no, that's the wrong mindset. It is, you should be winning national championships. This isn't about, Georgia's not Clemson, all right? They're not Oregon, which are really good teams and all this stuff. Georgia's Georgia. They're Florida, LSU, Alabama, Tennessee, or Texas. Those programs, USC, they're not allowed to say, why can't we do it? All right? They're supposed to do it. And Georgia's supposed to whip Vanderbilt's ass. And they did today. That you're supposed to do it doesn't mean you will. And that you did it doesn't mean that it should just be accepted as, oh, well, that should have happened. You got to still do it. And they did it. And I think that's something to me that's really lost sometimes in sport, which is that, really good doesn't always mean that you're really good all the time. Today, Georgia was, though. And, I'm just looking, Brock Bowers scored 3 touchdowns today, y'all. A 12-yard run on that, I call it almost a reverse, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was him, that play. The second touchdown was a 25-yard touchdown. And then in the third quarter, because he had not, gone to retire yet, he gets a really nice ball from Stetson for 29 yards to go up 45-0. You got Zamir in the game in the third quarter. Sometimes I do look around and be like, why are these guys playing? But no running back beyond Edwards had 10 carries or more. James Cook, these guys aren't beat up. They're going to be fresh. 253 yards rushing. It didn't seem like it was a dominant rushing effort, but it's because you weren't thinking about Lad McConkey's 24-yard run or the Brock Bowers 12-yard run. Those count. That's almost 40-ish yards right there, 36. So there's different ways to do things. Here's Stetson, 11 for 15. I did not like the interception. I think he's got to get rid of that ball quicker. First easy open man. JT Daniels, 9-10. They are different with JT. It's very easy to score, it seems like, for JT and Georgia. I think, though, more than anything, this was a mindset game. It was hey, we're better than these guys, and we're going to go do it. He said today, Kirby Smart, that Georgia was showing its players old videos of Mike Tyson. And I hope it wasn't the Buster Douglas. Obviously, it wasn't the Buster Douglas fight. This week, coincidentally, I watched that Ken Burns thing on Muhammad Ali. It was amazing work by Ken Burns. But if you're a badass, you got to go do it. You can't, like Mike Tyson back in the day, he would finish people quick. He wasn't about fighting to 10 rounds or whatever. Now, it's not quite the same because Georgia ain't always going to be in there with, somebody with a glass jaw. Next week against Arkansas, they're not just going to give up. Arkansas's got a lot going on here. Arkansas can, if they beat Georgia, can lose to Alabama and go into the playoff. Okay, that's just what it is. So there's both these teams got a lot to play for on Saturday. The question, though, is, and it just seems to me right now, Georgia's on a little bit different level than everybody that's not named Alabama. They've already beaten Clemson. Ohio State's not playing like this. Oregon's not playing like this. If Arkansas kicks Texas A&M's teeth in, maybe you put them in there too with Bama and Georgia. But right now, and we're going to see what happens with Alabama. They had a tight win over the Gators. That was a tough place to play. I don't know. I fully expect this to be a difficult game, but just this is about Georgia right now. It's not about disrespect for Vanderbilt or disrespect for the Hogs. This is about what Georgia is doing, and there's a lot of Kobe Bryant out there right now. There's a lot of MJ out there right now. There's a lot of guys. The team feels like they're finishers right now. Like they're not going to just quit. Well, that's the wrong way to put it. They're not going to quit until they finish you completely. And Mike Tyson in the 80s that might be the best way to put it with these guys. Now they got to keep it going. Some fights are going to be 15 rounds or 12. And it might be that the Arkansas game is. We're just going to have to see. But right this second, these guys are playing. These guys, being in Georgia, are playing as well or better than anybody in the country. They just are. And I think people should look out. We'll see you over on the website.